Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome to Sunday Feast Lecture on behalf of ISKCON Connecticut. My name is Hemangi Gopi Devidasi. I seek your blessings that I could speak something from the scriptures that can be pleasing to the Vaishnavas and it will glorify the Supreme Lord. Devotees, is it okay for me to start?
Yes, my God.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can sing Jai Radha Madhava. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Nitai Gauranga ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let's sing Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Once again, welcome to Sunday Feast lecture of ISKCON Farmington. I'm really sorry, ISKCON Connecticut. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And we will say our Mangala Charan prayers before we begin the class on Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tham Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Pashyatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jai. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. It's a very special day, and internationally it is celebrated as Mother's Day today. So I would like to wish everyone, all the mothers on the platform, a very happy Mother's Day. And just to give you some background about what is, like sometimes we just celebrate it without even knowing how did it all get started. Like the Valentine's Day, how it got changed into something else that what we see today, but how it started was in a whole different story. So just to give that little background, there was this very nice mother and a personality, beautiful personality. Her name was Anne Reeves Jarvis. During the time of like 1900s, before the Civil War, she actually was a very compassionate person, and she started something called as Mother's Day work clubs. So she got all the mothers together, and she helped them to help their children to take care of the children. She started this Mother's Day club, and it started getting very famous, and it was helping a lot of mothers. And they not only just took care of their own children, but they also started making like a lot of social activities like peacekeeping activities, and they were very helpful to the community, the whole group, the Mother's Day Club. So in 1905, she passed away, and her daughter, Anna Jarvis, she wanted to celebrate the life of not just her mother, but all the mothers for all the sacrifices that they do. So she actually was spearheading, and she started this whole celebrating Mother's Day in the second Sunday of May every year. And after some years, what happened was it just became like a festivity or some kind of holiday celebrations, which was not the purpose of what Anna Jarvis started. She actually wanted to glorify mothers and to thank them for the services and their sacrifices that they do. So she actually gave her whole life. She did not even marry. She gave her life just for the purpose of establishing this International Mother's Day. So it was Anna Jarvis from 1908 to like almost 1912. She had a lot of struggle and to establish this International Mother's Day, and then it continues happily going on from then on. And what is that spiritual significance for us? And it is said that Srila Prabhupada, he gave fourfold vision to ISKCON, and most of you know it. So I'm just repeating it. Books are the basis, purity is the force, preaching is the essence, and utility is the principle. So we have amazing Vaishnava festivals, appearances, disappearances, days of the Supreme Lord and his devotees. We have so many festivals that we celebrate. But why not? Like if the whole world is celebrating the Mother's Day, we have our scriptures are filled with the amazing mothers and this amazing devotees who have exhibited such wonderful qualities of mothers. So we can get to know about them and to learn more about them and be blessed on this special day. So with your permission, and I seek the permission and blessing of His Grace Pyari Mohan Prabhuji and Her Grace Jiva Mataji, and assembled all Vaishnavas, that I could glorify some of the mothers from our scriptures today. So once again, happy Mother's Day to everyone. And here is the verse from Bhagavad Gita that we will be reciting. So here is the verse, Bhagavad Gita 8:20. The chapter is entitled Attaining the Supreme. So if you are able, kindly do repeat. Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Yatto vyaktat sanatanaha
Vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha
Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu
Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu
Nashyatsu na vinashyati
Nasyatsu na vinashyati
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha
Vyakto vyaktat
Vyaktat
sanatanaha
sanatanaha
Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu
Nasyatsu na vinashyati
Nasyatsu na vinashyati
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha
Vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha
Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
Yassa sarveshu bhuteshu
Nashyatsu na vinashyati
Nasyatsu na vinashyati.
Can one devotee recite so we all can repeat, if it's okay?
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Parastasmatu bhavonyo
Vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha
Vyakto vyaktat sanatanaha
Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
Yasa sarveshu bhuteshu
Nashyatsu na vinashyati.
Nasyatsu na vinashvati.
Thank you so much. So let's see the translation and purport by our dear Srila Prabhupada. Is anyone able to read? Would like to volunteer to read one for translation and one for purport, if it's possible and okay.
I'll read the purport, Mataji.
Okay, I can read the translation. Thank you. Yet there is another unmanifest nature, which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. Yes, please go ahead with the purport.
Krishna's superior spiritual energy is transcendental and eternal. It is beyond all the changes of material nature, which is manifest and annihilated during the days and nights of Brahma. Krishna's superior energy is completely opposite in quality to material energy. Superior and inferior nature are explained in the 7th chapter.
Thank you so much. And you all would be wondering, Mother's Day, what is this Mataji reading this verse and how do we connect this to Mother's Day? So our dear Srila Prabhupada, he actually, when he gave a lecture in Los Angeles, so he connects it very beautifully. So this is a lecture by Srila Prabhupada on February 16th, 1969 in Los Angeles. Beyond this material nature, there is another nature. That's what Parastasmat Bhavamyo, spiritual nature. So we do not know what is the information of even this material world, we do not know, and we want to know about the spiritual nature. Then you have to hear from Krishna who lives there. How can you know which you cannot reach, right? That is so true. You cannot know with your senses as they are imperfect. How can you know then? Simply you have to hear. So hearing means just like you have to believe some gentleman as your father, hearing from the authority of your mother. So simply from the Vedic literature, which is accepted as the mother. So Srila Prabhupada is saying how Vedic knowledge is our mother. And he's explaining it in quite detail. It is called Veda Mata. Veda means knowledge, and it is received from the mother. So Veda Mata, the knowledge mother, you have to know who is Krishna. And here Krishna is personally explaining. So we have to believe it. Then you get the knowledge. Otherwise, there is no possibility and we do not experiment, right? And if we do that experiment, we usually fail. So how Srila Prabhupada very beautifully connects this verse and explains to us how Veda Mata, that means the Veda, the personification of knowledge, is our mother, and she will show us who Krishna is, our father, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when we take shelter of Vedas, the knowledge. So moving on from there, let us see some of the great personalities, great mothers who teach us a lot of instructions through their behaviors, through their words, through their life. So here, first example that I have today is Narada Muni's mother. In his previous birth, she was a maidservant, and she, in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, she is showing by her own example, she's teaching her kid how to serve the great personalities. So she was a maidservant, and these were the Vedantists or the Brahmanas who were living there at that time, and they came for their Chaturmasya. They were staying there for 4 months. And you can see in the background how she's serving them very nicely. And who is watching? Our little Narad Muni in his previous birth. He's watching his mother serve all the Brahmanas here. And what is he doing? Following in the mother's footstep, he is also trying to serve them. And that pleases all the Brahmanas here, and they're blessing him profusely. So those blessings took him all the way to become Narad Muni. Can you believe how wonderful it is? So how did this little kid learn? From his mother. And how do we get to know this? This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. Narad Muni himself personally explains in the first canto, 5th chapter, 23rd verse, to Vyasadeva, when there is a conversation between Narad Muni and Vyasadeva, where he's telling Vyasadeva that you should please write this Srimad Bhagavatam for the benefit of all. So he's explaining how he became the Narad Muni at present. So he's saying, "Oh Muni, in the last millennium, I was born as the son of a certain maidservant, engaged in the service of Brahmanas, who were following the principles of Vedanta. When they were living together during the 4 months of the rainy season, I was engaged in their personal service." So this was shown to him personally by the mother. I was thinking, like, each one of us, we always, after we get married and when we have our kids, when we became mothers, we always took some kind of parenting workshops. We asked senior devotees, how do we raise our kids? And we have been hearing this quite often by now, that kids learn by seeing, not much by hearing. That means we don't just keep dictating them, do this, do that. Like we don't just give orders to them, but we show them by our own behavior, by our own practices. So they observe more. Kids are very good observers. So not just kids, but all of us, like we learn faster when we observe somebody else, right? So it makes the learning process more easier. So similarly for the kids, we watch the parents, they watch the parents. And so how much important it is for us to imbibe the spiritual values. So I just wanted to also share as I am going along to thank my own mother. Her name is Vasundhara. Vasundhara is another name of Bhudevi, Mother Earth. So she has been a great pillar of strength in my life, and she continues to be. And she's a wonderful devotee of Lord Krishna, and she comes from Sri Sampradaya family. She's an initiated devotee. And she has been showing by her personal examples, like when I read this part of Narad Muni's mother, like in my days, when I remember my childhood days, I can remember like every Friday, whatever happens, like Thursday evening means mother is washing the whole house and she's getting all the aarti plates and everything cleaned, fresh for the Friday puja. And in the morning, she's fully engaged. She does all the cooking and everything that's needed on a daily basis. But that day she does not eat till she completes. She sends us to school so that she can have that piece of time till the afternoon. She says all her shlokas, all her prayers, and she worships the Lord with whatever little flowers are grown in our backyard. And she's so happy doing that every Friday. And it was not a ritual for her. It was with such loving affection to the Lord she would do it. And I have watched her personally do this days after day, weeks and years, and so many years down. That has given me strength in my own life, that deity worship is so important for her. And when the days get so hectic when you have more kids, but still for her, she had her particular days when she would do abhishek for all the deities on a weekly basis, and she would have this practice that she showed us by her own personal example. So this is how Narad Muni saw his own mother, and he also learned how to serve the Brahmanas, and he got the blessings to move on to become Narad Muni in his next life. And moving on to our next personality whom we are going to see today is this wonderful, wonderful Mata. Her name is Suniti, who guided her son Dhruva, Dhruva's mother Suniti, to correctly to pray to Lord Vishnu by focusing on the solution and not on the problem. How important it is, because we all know that Dhruva was having difficulty. Like when we know the story how he just this little 5-year-old kid wanted to sit on the lap of his father. As simple as that, which happens daily, right? Like our kids they are free to go and sit on the lap of the father. But this kid had such a hard time that the stepmother said, no, you don't have the right to sit on your father's lap. You have to take birth through my womb to get that permission to sit on the father's lap. And that hurt so much the little kid. And where will the kid go? The kid will go running to the mother, right, to express his sorrow and helplessness. So he came running to his mother and he was crying. And when the kid is crying, just 5-year-old, can we all relate to it? They don't have the words to put together to say what actually happened. But before that, the mother already heard what happened in the courtyard. And she was feeling the pain of what the injustice that happened to her own kid. But you know what? In all that situation, we could see this beautiful verse. Like if not for Srimad Bhagavatam, we wouldn't even know what was her reaction to this. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 8th chapter, 17th verse, we can see how she was going through that emotions. Dirgam swashanti vrijanasya bharam apashyati balakam ahabala mamangalam tata pareshu mamstha bhunte jano yat paradukkadasthat. So the translation goes, she also was breathing very heavily. So not that she was very calm, composed, and she was in a yoga posture. No, she was breathing very heavily and she did not know the factual remedy. Actually, she didn't even have a real solution, like kind of factual remedy for the painful situation. And you can see in the painting also, like there is tears flowing in her eyes. Not finding any remedy, she said to her son, My dear son, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. Anyone who inflicts pains upon others suffers himself from that pain. How wonderful, right? Even though she was going through that external emotions of all the crying, the pain, and feeling of frustration, but want to help the kid, but she does not lose that opportunity to give good advice, to guide him in the right direction, to say this is, it really needs good composure. Like she had very good values that she could pass on to her kid. So saying this, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. What a wonderful statement. Like all the time when something bad happens, the blame game starts and we want to just say all the things that we want to say about the other person, how it was nothing wrong on our part. It was just all about the other and how ill things we wish for them, which is not the right thing. With that anger can bring out like we our whole what consciousness can fully get changed. But here Suniti, even though she was feeling the pain, but she was able to guide her son in yeah, thank you so much. So yeah, so as we are discussing about Suniti, she further goes on to say this very wonderful shloka, which comes in the 23rd text. She's explaining how the Supreme Lord is the source of whom he should take shelter. So the verse goes like this: Nanyam tata padma palashalochana dukkha chidamte mrigayami kanchana yo mrigyate hasta grihita padmaya shriye tarai ranga vimrigyamanaya. So how she's explaining is, my dear Dhruva, as far as I am concerned, I do not find anyone who can mitigate your distress, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like lotus petals. Many demigods, such as Lord Brahma, seek the pleasure of the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune herself, with the lotus flower in her hand, is always ready to render service to the Supreme Lord. So how nice, so many points in this verse itself, like each of this verse in itself is a class or can be discussed in such great length. But since we are focusing on the greatness of each of the mothers and how exemplary qualities they are teaching their children. So here, when we say that many of them are worshiping the goddess of fortune herself, like many, when we worship just the feminine aspect, like the Lakshmi Devi, when we worship, and if we do not worship Narayan, if we don't, we just want to exploit the Shakti of the Lord, then we are none other than like those Ravanas or who wanted to enjoy Mother Sita and not unite her with Lord Ram. So it's always Sita Ram, Lakshmi Narayan. So when they are together, they bless us immensely. So the goddess of fortune is always happy rendering service to the Supreme Lord. So we don't exploit her by, we don't want to do a worship of just Lakshmi Devi to become wealthy. She knows if we do that, we may end up getting this material world's wealth, but that's not what the right wealth is. The eternal wealth is our loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if we worship Lakshmi Narayan together, we get that supreme benefit. So the mother is already teaching that that's that Supreme Lord that you should take shelter of. And if you all get to read and you all know the story of Dhruva, how when Dhruva asks, where is the Supreme Lord that I can find? And she did not just say simply, and she, the mother, like he's just 5-year-old kid. And she said he will be found in the forest. So she knows he's going to go in search because the kid was determined that he wants to get a bigger kingdom than even his grandfather. So he wants to get, that was his goal at this point. She did not discourage. So when she was saying the right thing, even though the kid was a kid, his feelings were hurt. So he was asking for something that's just a material thing as a kingdom. So even in Bhagavatam, it is another beautiful verse. This is very close to my heart. And it is in 2nd Canto, 3rd chapter, 10th verse. It goes like, Akama sarva kamo va muksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena vrajeta purusham param. The verse explains like akama sarva kamova. Akama means you don't have any desires, material desires, or you have sarva kamova. You have a lot of desires. Moksha kama udharati, even if you are desiring for liberation, whatever you are from that ladder of desires from lower to the highest, whatever it be, please, if you come to me and take shelter, if we take shelter of the Supreme Lord, the Lord will fulfill them and take care of us. He will give protection to us. So this is very nicely here exemplified by Suniti, Mother Suniti to Dhruva. So we can also see in the end of Dhruva Charitra where he actually gets the blessings of the Supreme Lord. And you can see when the Lord touches with the conch shell to the head of Dhruva and he starts speaking, he's crying. He's saying, oh my Lord, I asked for just broken pieces of glasses, because he could see what he came for was comparatively like those insignificant broken pieces of glasses compared to the darshan that he was getting of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that he could get that vision, that knowledge and everything else, but the starting was from his mother. She was the Padma Pradakshaka Guru. She was the one who showed him the path. And then he meets Narada Muni, then who initiates him into the mantra and guides him further. But the whole thing started by the mother guiding him in the right way. So this is very beautiful. And in relation to Mother Suniti, I also remember that in South India where I grew up, there are temples where it's like a complex, like how even in US you have Hindu mandir complexes where there is demigods also there. There is Supreme Personality of Godhead also, like we have Ganesha, we have Murugan, we have Saraswati, we have Lakshmi, we have Krishna, Rama, everybody. There is small altars in a big complex. So every day we would go, my mother and I would go in the evening, and my mother would directly just go to the Krishna temple and she would directly go do her puja there. But I was very curious and I had my friends who would also come from my school friends, and they would go around other places of worship too. So I would ask my mother, can I join them and worship and then join you later? And she would never say no. She would say, yes, go ahead, go and pay your obeisances and come back. I'll be waiting for you in the Krishna Mandir. And I would go there, and there is most of you from the South Indian background, you would know, there is Navagraha, the 9 Graha, Navagraha temple is mostly there in most of the temples, where everybody goes around the Navagraha and they pray to all those demigods to protect them, because all our planetary systems in different places, they control our what you call our life. So like we see our astrological calculations based on the Navagraha. So they would say some specific shlokas and they would recite as they are going around. And I didn't know that. So my mother has taught me a lot of shlokas, but she did not teach this particular shloka to me. So I was wondering, and after I circumambulated, I went to her and I said, Amma, I really don't know some shloka they're saying for Navagraha. I'm the only one who doesn't know. They all are reciting it and I am left out. Can you teach me? And she thought for a while and she said, yes, but I will teach you a special one, she said. I was thinking, special one. I didn't know what that special one meant. I said, yes. And she said that this would be different from what they're saying, but this is very, very special. And I want you to recite it. I said, yes, sure. And she actually went deep into study of her Sri Sampradaya books. And she asked and came up with, she found this verse where all the Navagrahas take shelter of Sri Ranganath's lotus feet. It is mentioned in the Shastra there. And she took that shloka for me. She said, Sri Ranganatha Divya Manipadukabhyam Namaha Kanaka Ruchira Kavya Kyada Shanaishcharana Uchita Shita Guru Puja Bhaswadrupa Dvijati Pasevita Vihita Vibhava Nityam Vishnoho Manipaduke Tumasi Mahati Vishvesham Naha. So all the names of those Navagrahas came, but the shloka says that these all take shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Ranganatha. And that Supreme Lord, the Vishnu who is lying down in the causal ocean, I take shelter of him. So my mother I could relate this verse and this situation that I realized this quite some time later in life, that how she also tricked me into worshiping the Supreme Lord always and taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, even though I can go here and there with different kinds of association that happens in one's life. So, And also, like after reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj in Bhagavatam, he says, I want to be captured. Like we always say, right? Shani Graha has caught me. This Graha has caught me. That's how the problem is happening in my life. He says, I also want to be caught by a Graha. What Graha? Krishna Graha Grihitatma, he says. So I want the Krishna Graha to catch me, and I want to be under the clutch of Krishna Graha. So I was able to relate this incidents in my life and thank her profusely every day. Moving further. And we see this wonderful, wonderful mother Draupadi, her empathy and forgiveness. And this is also in first canto Bhagavatam. And these, whatever I'm saying, it's between the verses 42 to 48 in chapter 7 of canto 1. And we all also like heard how Ashwatthama, who was Ashwatthama? He was the son of Dronacharya. And who was Dronacharya? He was the guru for both the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So he is a Brahmana by birth. But he, with being on the wrong side, he actually took a vow to help kind of Duryodhana, that he said, I will go and kill off all these Pandavas and behead them. And actually what he did was he killed all the 5 young kids of Draupadi while they were sleeping. How terrible it would be for a mother. How terrible to lose all her kids. And Arjuna was so furious when he got to know this, and he takes a vow that I will capture and kill this Ashwatthama and bring him to you. And in that anger, he goes, there's a whole long story how he captures Ashwatthama and he brings to Draupadi. But he brings him tied and like arrested. And when Draupadi sees this situation, her heart overwhelmed with motherly affection, she actually forgives Ashwatthama. What an amazing mother's quality this can be. So these are some of the points that I could collect from this verses 42 to 48, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. She could not tolerate actually Ashwatthama's being bound by ropes. Wow. And being a devoted lady, she said, release him, for he is a Brahmana, a son of our spiritual master. What a great vision she should have to even say these words. She was herself being in so much pain of losing all her 5 young sons. Gratitude for Guru, as you have learned the military art from him. He is being represented by his son. We cannot kill him. Do not cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipful. And she showed empathy. That is, she understood others' feelings and caring for others' emotions by being sensitive. So she says that I do not want Drona's wife, Kripi, to cry for the loss of her son, Ashwatthama, just like I am crying for the loss of my sons. How magnanimous heart, right, this mother's heart is. So duty as a Kshatriya to respect the Brahmana order and protect them. So this is coming from our heart. She's not acting here, or she's not trying to be a nice personality to be mentioned later in the books of Bhagavatam, but this is her true heart. If not for Srimad Bhagavatam, how would we know about this great personality like Draupadi? And when we think of empathy and forgiveness simply, how much in our life, all our mothers have been forgiving us from our young days. I don't know what all not we have done, and even our own kids. It's so natural for a mother to forgive and feel for that personalities. So the mothers imbibe this beautiful quality. So, and Mother Draupadi is showing this by her personal example to a very big heights, to what to say, like this is forgiving the person who killed her own 5 sons. It's not easy unless somebody has such high values in one's life. So this is that great personality, Draupadi Ma Ki Jai. So let's see, whom do we have next? Yes, Sumitra, how she exhibits quality of cooperation. This is an amazing quality. And who is Sumitra? She is the wife of, one of the wives of Dasharath Maharaj. And many of you also know the story of Ramayana. Recently, we all celebrated last month Ram Navami. So it's all fresh in your hearts and in your minds, the story of Lord Ram. how during the Putra Kameshti Yajna, the pot of payasam, the sweet rice came, and Dashrath Maharaj had to divide it between his three principal queens. And first was Mother Kaushalya, and he gave the 50% to her. And she prayed, "Oh my Lord, I wish and I pray that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can come and take birth in my womb." With so much reverential prayers, she drank the payasam that was given to her. And then the next 25% he gave to Sumitra, his second wife. But Sumitra just kept on to it, and she was holding the payasam. And next, the 25% was left, right? So that was divided again into half, 12.5. And that was given to the third queen, Kaikeyi. And she also prayed, and she said, "Oh, I wish to have a son who could rule the kingdom and be the heir." And she took that and she consumed as soon as she got it. So the next 12.5 was left. So we would think that what made Dasharath Maharaj give it back to Sumitra and not to Kaushalya or Kaikeyi? Because he was seeing the first queen also, as soon as she got it, she consumed it with her prayer. And the third queen also, when she got the payasam, she consumed her prayer. But Sumitra was waiting in her hand with the first portion of payasam that she got, the sweet rice. And she was waiting so that she was praying that, "Oh my Lord, may I beget a son who will serve the sons of my elder sister and the younger sister, who will cooperate and bring cooperation within the family." And when Dashrath Maharaj heard this, he was so overwhelmed with joy. So he gave the next, the 12.5 portion of that payasam to Sumitra again. And when she had both with this prayer in her heart, she gave birth to Lakshman and Shatrughna. So those are the two great personalities who were born with the service attitude in their heart. The mothers sowed the seed of service attitude before even their birth, before conception. So that's the great quality of Sumitra Devi, Mother Sumitra. And I actually was hearing to this wonderful pastime by His Grace Gaur Gopal Prabhuji. And he was very beautifully explaining further that as the kids were growing, Lakshman would come running to Mother Sumitra, and he would say that, "Amma, I'm so hungry. Give me something to eat. I'm feeling so hungry." And when the kid is coming, the mother reciprocates, right? You want to give food to your kid. But you know what Sumitra would do? Kindly excuse me. Sumitra would, actually she would say, "Oh Lakshman, did you ask your brother Ram? Is he hungry? Did he eat? Did you ask about his lunch? Did he have it? Or do you want to call him along and bring him along for lunch so that he can also eat with you?" So this is how her response, immediate response was. So from day one, her response was always about how cooperative they should be and how Lakshman and Shatrughna should serve Lord Ram and Bharat. And it is also said that Lakshman is Seva personified, Anantashesh, but his mother from the womb that he came is also service personified, that she prayed for kids who would serve in the mission of the Lord. And she exemplifies like all the way, like I wanted to actually relate, like when we have fancy dress competitions, usually in our temples, when we announce it, most of us, we want to dress our kids like Ram, kids like Lakshman. Nobody thinks of Lakshman, mostly it's Ram or Krishna. We want to dress in that way. But you know what? It is so pleasing if we could dress our kids like Guha, Lakshman. So we also imbibe those, the true nature of our soul is what? To be the servant of the Lord. So if we also could practice these amazing qualities from that subtle points, it'll be really amazing. That that is what we want to pass on to our kids, that we are always the servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this message is amazing, that when my kid, he dressed as Guha. Actually, it was more easier than to dress as Lord Ram. And he kind of won the prize. And the mother, I did not know, I was not that mature to think of too many things, but the Mataji, who was the judge, she was very touched. She said, Nobody ever has done this of dressing their own kid like Guha. We see many Rams and many Krishnas and Supreme Lord's expansions on the stage, which is very beautiful, no doubt. It's really amazing. But she said, I really got touched and moved by seeing the servant of the Lord Ram there. So devotees really see the good in everything. So that's how Sumitra taught from very young, cooperation and selfless service. And when the time came for Lord Ram to be banished to the forest, Lakshman was not asked to go to the forest. We all know that. He volunteered. And when Lakshman came and said the news to Sumitra, Sumitra said, all this time you have been serving Lord Ram, you've been with him. Aren't you going with him? Which mother will ask, which mother would want her own kid to go to the forest, be banished to the forest? It's the hard life in forest. But she said, aren't you going, Lakshman? That was amazing. And Lakshman got all the blessings from his mother to go. And this is a very, very famous shloka in Valmiki Ramayana. Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi Mam Vidhi Janakatmajam Ayodhyam Matavim Vidhi Gachatata Yatha Sukham. She's happily saying that, know that Lord Ram to be Dasharath. Look upon Sita, the daughter of Janaka, as myself, like your mother. Consider the forest as Ayodhya and depart happily, my son. How blessed is that kid to have such a mother, right? Having the right attitude. And it is mentioned in the Valmiki Ramayana that Sumitra from the beginning knew that Ram is Lord Ram, not just a kid in their palace, but he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is another translation to this verse from Sri Sampradaya Govindacharya. He explains that Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. Dasha also represents bird. And Ratham means chariot. So Dasha, the Lord who sits on the carrier of Garuda. So Garuda as his chariot, who has that? Who is that? The Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Ma also represents as the Jivatma. And Janakatmajam, being the servant of Mother Lakshmi. That if you serve Mother Lakshmi and Narayan, who sit on the carrier of Garuda, and this Ayodhya, and wherever they reside, that place is Ayodhya. It may be forest or like Grihe Tako, Vane Tako, Sada Hari Bole Tako, however Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings. So wherever the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his consort are, that is Ayodhya for you, Lakshman, and happily serve them. That's another translation to this beautiful verse. So Sumitra Ma ki jai. So she has been exemplary. She consoles Kausalya, and even though she herself is in grief, there are many verses in Ramayana in this place where Lord Ram is going to the forest. And when Mother Kausalya is actually broken down, it's Sumitra who consoles her and says, don't worry, the time will fly off and the day will come and Lord Ram will be at your feet taking your blessings and embrace you that he is back. And those words gave hope to Mother Kausalya to stay alive for the next 14 years. So she was such a cooperative personality in this whole Ramayana that we can learn from. And we can see in our own lives, each of our own lives with so many siblings we all have been born with, or our own kids, whenever there is difficulty at home, it's the mother who wants to keep the cooperation going on at home. So we are so thankful to have such wonderful mothers among us. And what happens when such a mother prays for her kid? So who is that mother? Mother Bhumi Devi, when she was rescued from the ocean. She was rescued after Hiranyakashipu just put the Mother Earth in the ocean. And we see that Varahadev actually fought with Hiranyaksha and he killed him and he rescued Mother Earth in his tusk. And as he brought Mother Earth up, there is a conversation between Mother Bhumi Devi and Varahadev in Varaha Puran. And she says, oh my Lord, all these kids of mine, all the kids in the planetary system here who live in my planet, they're all my kids. And please, I want protection for them. Please show your mercy to them. They have a lot that they suffer. Like they can't do everything that you say. It's so hard for them to follow everything. They may fail, but please don't give up on them. So she is earnestly praying to Varahadev for the protection of each one of us. And that melts Varahadev's heart. Varahadev is like, he wants to give boons to Bhumi Devi, but Bhumi Devi being the mother, she wants boons for her kids, that is each one of us. And Varahadev, out of his causeless love, he says this very special shloka. Says, Stite manasi susvaste sharire satiyo naraha dhatu samye stite smartha vishwarupam chamamajam Tatastam riyamanam tu kashtapashana sannibham aham smarami madbhaktam nayami paramam gatim. A similar words that Srila Prabhupada also says, that when everything is like Kulashekara Alvar, he quotes in the Mukundamala Stotra, and he says that when everything is fit and fine, let us take the holy names of the Lord, because we'll never know when that moment will come, right? When it's all difficult that we will not be able to chant. So here Lord Varaha says, yes, such a situation can happen, but what will I do at that situation? If anyone thinks of me when the mind is sound, with the body in good health, and with all mental and physical faculties intact, if he thinks that I am indeed the very cause of this universe, or the form of Vishwarupam, that I am without birth, then I assure you, he's saying this to Mother Bhumi Devi, that I will remember this devotee of mine when he is on deathbed, lying like a stone or a log of wood, and personally take him to the supreme abode. Varahadev Bhagwan ki jai, Bhumi Devi ki jai. So these shlokas, there is called 3 Charama shlokas in Sri Sampradaya. So they recite this verse every day along with the other 2 verses where the Lord is giving promise to the living entities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, following the steps of their spiritual masters. So this is really amazing how Mother's heart is always about asking prayers for her kids. And we have seen this in our own life, and each one of us in this motherhood, we are blessed because we are able to feel that completeness. We are able to feel how Srila Prabhupada says that the closest feeling, that the closest example that somebody could give in this material world to understand Lord's love is the mother's love for her kid. So we are able to experience that in this world, and we are able to see the magnanimity of the Supreme Lord through the love of our own mothers. And how can we not talk about Rajani Devi, who is the mother of our beloved Acharya, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Abhay Charan, who was young, he was called Abhay Charan. And she is known for, she would perform so many austerities. She's from a wonderful Vaishnava family. Rajani Devi and Gaur Mohan De, they were great Vaishnavas to whom our beloved Srila Prabhupada was born. So Rajani Devi was always in prayerful mood for Abhay Charan. It is mentioned in Leelamrita that she would take some real great austerities, like she had taken a vow. Most of you would have heard that. She took a vow that she will only eat with her left hand for as long as till her son asks her, Ma, why are you eating with your left hand? When the kid will ask that question, then she said, I will let go of that austerity. Can we even imagine, like, if the kid never asked us, she was ready to perform that austerity for the rest of her life. So she did such an austerity till the day when Abhay Charan would ask her that, why are you eating with your left hand? And that day she left it, which was quite some years later. So she took such severe austerities in life for the protection of Abhay Charan. She prayed to all the lords, and she would take the kids to Radha Govind Mandir, and Abhay Charan, he grew up seeing his mother do deity worship and how he took care of her, and he was a pet of his mother actually. So we are so thankful to Rajani Devi for giving us our beloved Srila Prabhupada, who is our savior, who has built a house for all of us. So we are so thankful to Rajani Devi. Mother Rajani Devi ki jai. So with this, I really want to thank each one of you for coming and participating in the Sunday Feast Mother's Day program from on the platform of ISKCON of Connecticut. So I really want to thank each one of you. And if you have, like, these are beautiful pastimes where there's not much questions, but there's a beautiful platforms. We are remembering mothers. And it's said in the scriptures, most of you know, like so many forwards we get in our WhatsApp messages, and everybody's blessing and passing this message how we have 7 mothers. We are, each one of us have like our own mother, then the wife of the Guru Patni, then we have Brahmani, the Brahmana's Patni, then we have Raja Patni, and then we have cow, and we have nurse, and Mother Earth, Prithvi. So in that line, if anybody would like to, you all are blessed to have Guru Patni there. And if anybody would like to volunteer, we have 5 minutes before Aarti. If you would like to share the glories of Her Grace Jiva Mataji, each one of you are so, so blessed, which you may or may not know. I'll be very blessed to hear from you the qualities of Her Grace Jiva Mataji that has touched your heart. Anybody would like to volunteer?
I would like to volunteer.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I have had the fortune to spend a lot of time with Mother Jiva. When I first came to Krishna consciousness, I started by helping with the flowers. I was so shy, I didn't like to come on Sundays. It was too many people. So Mother Jiva very patiently would preach to me. Each time I came to visit, she would teach me a new thing about Krishna consciousness, or show me a new book, or play a kirtan for me, and encourage me just, to take little steps until I finally started coming on Sundays. And I've been a member since 2003 now. So
Wow.
It stuck, I guess. But she was very patient with me, even when I made stupid mistakes or, forgot to wash my hands before doing something because I didn't know any better. She was very patient and encouraging with me.
Thank you. Thank you. This is amazing. Please. Yes, I want to hear more.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I just want to say something. This is
Yes,
Damodar Sarudas here. So
Yes.
when a child feels hungry, right, the child goes to their mother. And whenever you go to a temple, Jiva Mataji is always there to give you prasadam. And once you eat that prasadam, right, you would forget everything what you have eaten it here. I had a pleasure of eating many times the food that I have never eaten. And after that, I could not realize where did it come from. So, and Jiva Mataji always give everything, whoever goes, she will give something or the other, and she will not let anyone go without taking prasadam. And when you talk to her, when you are with her, you will feel that everything is so composed and calm, and the turbulence, whatever you are going with your mind and the thoughts, right, they will become steady. So I just wanted to share with that, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Her Grace Jiva Mataji ki jai. And I hear more. My thirst has increased more, please. Anyone else?
Mataji Devidasi. Once I was helping Jiva Mataji in the kitchen, and then I had made the South Indian sweet, thinking it's made up of rice flour and you had to mix jaggery. It's called Vella Chida in Tamil. I don't know if you know.
Yes, I am from South India.
So I took the dough down to the temple and I thought I will fry it in the temple. So when I fried it in the temple, it got disintegrated because the proportion of the flour and the jaggery was not proper. And I was quite new at trying that. So I don't know, I was so attached to that I literally, tears started coming out of my eyes that it was a big fiasco. And then Jiva Mataji saw that I was very disturbed. And then she put some more ingredients and made it into a nice cookie, baked it and showed that, well, it came out nice as a cookie. So don't worry, she said. I was so happy that I was able to offer that to Krishna that day for the feast or for whatever reason I was there. So I could see her positiveness, somehow she turned it into a nice cookie for Krishna. So I was very happy about that. So that was one of pastime with her. And she always shows by example, whatever she takes and she puts it back in the proper place. And she does everything very, very clean, painstakingly, even if it takes a lot of effort. She'll make sure everything is clean on the counter for Krishna. When she washes any dishes, if I've done silver polishing in the temple, but when she does the silver polish, it just shines like anything. I don't know what she does, like the same polish I've tried many times, but she has a lot of sincerity and effort that she puts in anything that she does. And she doesn't have to tell a word. You just learn by example that she has such dedication and concentration whenever she does anything for Krishna. So when she offers a plate of bhoga, it's like all so neatly organized, nothing, haphazard, or the way she presents it to Krishna. You may think that she's just doing it for Sunday feast or for somebody to see, but no, I've seen her many, many times. Every time that plate is so cleanly presented with the best offering that she can make. That's Jiva Mataji for you.
Thank you. And I pray, and I really pray at the lotus feet of each one of you here that you pray for me. Someday I can come to Connecticut, and when things clear up, and get her association and serve her in some small ways and learn from her. This is amazing. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Don't want to be a hindrance in the Aarti. Thank you very much for sharing, and happy Mother's Day to once again to each one of you. And Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा मैया की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। कि बजाया जय गौरा चांदे आरती का शोभा। जय जय गौरा चांदे आरती का शोभा। जय जय गौरा आरती का शोभा। कि जय जय गौरा चांदे आरती का शोभा। जहान वितट बने जगमान लोभा। जहान वितट बने जगमान लोभा। दक्षिण निताय चाँद बामे गदाधर। दक्षिण निताय चाँद बामे गदाधर। निकटे अद्वैत श्रेणी वास छत्रधार। निकटे अद्वैत श्रेणी वास छत्रधार। बसियाचे गौरा चाँद रत्न सिंहासने। बसियाचे गौरा चाँद रत्न सिंहासने। आरती करे ना ब्रह्मा आदिदेव गाने। आरती करे ना ब्रह्मा आदिदेव गाने। नर हरि आदि कोरी चामर ढुलाया। नर हरि आदि कोरी चामर ढुलाया। संजय मुकुंद वासु घोषादि गाया। संजय
घोषादि गाय
शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताल
शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताल
माधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाल
माधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाल
शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर मधुर माधुर बाजे
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 माधुर 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 बाजे
माधुर मधुर माधुर बाजे
जय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल कि बहु कोटि चंद्रजिनी वादन उज्ज्वल बहु कोटि चंद्रजिनी वादन उज्ज्वल काल देशे बनमाला तोरे झलमाला काल देशे बनमाला तोरे झलमाला शिवा शुका नारदा प्रेम गदा गदा शिवा शुका नारदा प्रेम गदा गदा कति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा कति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा श्रीला कति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा
कति विनोदा देखे गौरार संपादा
गौरांगे रारति कशोभा जग जन मान लोभा
गौरांगे आरति
ना मिले। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram,
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama 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 Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan 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 Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami Bhavatu Me Jagannath Swami Nayana Pathagami
जगन्नाथ नयन पथगामी पथगामी भव तुम्हें
जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा
जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा
जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय
जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद
I Om Vishnu Par Paramahansa Parabrajakacara Jasatara Sata Shri Shri Maharaj Divine Grace Shila Abhay Charan Aravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Par Paramahansa Parabrajakacara Jasatara Sata Shri Shri Maharaj Divine Grace Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Ravinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Srimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Lord Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai. Lord Nrsimha Deva Ki Jai. Shri Shalagram Shilas Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Can I start, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prakadanadadayine. Prakadanadadayine. Hiranyakasi Purvakshaha. Hiranyakasi Purvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha. Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsimha. Yeto yeto yami tato Nrsimha. Yeto yeto yami tato Nrsimha. Bahir Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha. Bahir Nrsimha Hridaye Nrsimha. Nrsimha Madhim Sharanam Prapade. Nrsimha Madhim Sharanam Prapade. Tavatar Kamalavare Natha. Adbhuta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakasipo Tanubhranga Keshavadruta Narahari Rupa Jagagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tavatar Kamalavare Nakha Adbhuta Sringa Dalita Hiranyakasipo Tanubhranga Keshavadruta Narahari Rupa जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद नरसिंह भगवान की जय भक्त प्रहलाद की जय शील प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us for the Sunday program this evening. I also want to thank Her Grace Hemangi Gopi Mataji for the wonderful class. I don't know if she's online or not yet, but Vallabhi Gopi, maybe you can pass on our acknowledgements and gratitude to her for giving the special class this evening. So I'm going to read out the names of the program sponsors. Bhavin Patel is sponsoring for his brother-in-law, Nayan Patel, who passed away. Nayan Patel, actually, Nayanji, he used to come to our temple, when the temple was open. So we keep him in our thoughts and prayers today, and our special condolences to Bhavin Prabhu and his family. Rupali, Jyoti, and Mahesh Shah are sponsoring for Mother's Day and for Mahesh and Jyoti's anniversary. Pranad Govind is sponsoring for his cousin brother, Soham Krishna, who passed away 2 days ago from COVID. He was only 30 years old. Haribol Pariprabhu, did you say something?
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I apologize. I don't have very uplifting news today. I'm also announcing that Kamlesh Prabhu lost his father in India. He was 90. His name was Sri Harivilas Saxena. He was 90 years old, and he left his body on April 26th. We also have devotees sponsoring for Pankajangri Prabhu, who passed away from COVID on Tuesday last week. And they're also sponsoring for Shreyansh Nayan Shah, who's currently battling COVID in California. Hari Bol. We also have an anonymous sponsor for today's program. I don't know what to say. It's been a little sad week, losing Pankajangri Prabhu and many of our, devotees and friends, losing relatives and friends, back home in India, friends and relatives of our friends fighting COVID here in US and in India. And I mean, personally, I felt very, you truly felt like not being in control at all. Had a strong desire to do something. I just did not know what I could do. So I very helplessly prayed that, Krishna, you killed so many demons, and this COVID Asura is just taking away, family members and friends and relatives from us. So please step in. You guide us, you give us the intelligence, give us the strength to make the necessary arrangements, tell us how to fight the battle. But we really need your mercy, blessings, and we need an intervention from you. Felt truly helpless in the last few days, as we know, India is battling the menace of COVID right now. So moving on with the next set of announcements. We will be celebrating Narsingh Chaturdashi on Sunday, May 23rd, and on Tuesday, May 25th. Hari Bol. The actual day of Narsingh Chaturdashi is May 25th, Tuesday. It is recommended that we fast till dusk. We will have a celebration on Sunday, May 23rd, the Sunday before May 25th as well. The idea is, people are busy on Tuesday, or it being a weekday. So having a 2-day celebration, it just makes it more inclusive for people who might be busy on Tuesday. There is no fasting on Sunday. If you wish to become one of the program sponsors, then you will be sponsoring the feast for Narshing Dev on both the days, for Sunday as well as Tuesday. Sponsorship is only $125. If you are interested, you can contact, you can announce your name now. You can raise your hand electronically if you want. You can put your name in the chat window, or you can contact Pyare Prabhu and Jiva Mataji at 860-289-7252. So once again, actual day of Narsingh Chaturdashi is May 25th, Tuesday, fasting till dusk. We will have a program in the evening. We will also have a program on May 23rd, Sunday, at the regular time, 3:45 p.m. And if you wish to sponsor the program, it's only $125. And if you want to become a part of the Vaishnav, take part in the Vaishnava holiday sponsorship program, then you sponsor all 12 holidays in the year in only, I believe it's $1,451. And there is a substantial saving when you sign up for the annual sponsorship program. You can contact Ganpati Govind Prabhu, or you can put your you can express your interest in the chat window now if you are interested.
I think you should mention on both Sunday, the 23rd, and Tuesday, the 25th, there will be programs both virtually and in person at the new temple. And if anyone wants to go, you have to be, we want everyone to be at least 16 years or older.
Yeah.
And
wear a mask.
Yeah, wear masks, and your temperature will be checked. If you have a temperature, you won't be allowed in. And no offering obeisances down on the floor. You just bow down to offer obeisances with your head.
Yeah.
I think those are the only restrictions. But 16 or older. But we're going to let anyone come who wants to come, and we'll see how many people come.
Yeah.
But it will be virtual too. So if you don't want to come, you can see it online.
Yeah.
Maji, can you announce the outfit sponsors, please? If somebody wants to sponsor an outfit.
Sure. Maltipriya, how much is the Lakshmi charges for sponsorship?
It's $501.
Okay. Hari bol. So if somebody wants to...
Mataji,
yes.
Already Anu told to Jiva Mataji, we are sponsoring Mataji.
Oh, thank you, Chennaya Prabhu. Hari bol.
Hari bol.
Okay. Maltipriya.
Yes, Mataji.
Please make Narshing Dev happy. Put your magic.
Yeah, no, Shuddha Bhakti is making it. Yeah, she'll make a magic.
Okay, the two of you combined, put the magic, please. We need divine intervention from the divine protector now to save the situation. Moving on with the announcements, I also want to make a quick mention of His Grace Yadunandan Prabhu. He was a devotee at ISKCON Connecticut Temple, very sincere devotee of Lord Jagannath. He left his body on May 15th. 6 years. Amit Prabhu, did you want to add something?
No, I was just saying I didn't realize that today or this week was his passing away, but while chanting today, somehow I just remembered him and I was speaking with my wife about him.
Yeah, I think May 15th, this May 15th, it will be 6 years since his disappearance. So I know I've been talking for long for the last few minutes. This announcement has extended, but he was instrumental in us getting the new location in Glastonbury. He made significant contribution. He donated his earthly belongings, and that really helped ISKCON Connecticut in securing the current Glastonbury location. And we are so grateful to Yadunandan Prabhu for that. So when we chant today, we can keep him in our thoughts as well. I'm very positive that with his service and with his contribution, he does not need our prayers, but thinking of him today, remembering him, while chanting and otherwise, it will give us inspiration to be more giving and so, basically support our temple like the way he did. Pariprabhu, do you want to add anything?
No, just pretty much what you said. If it wasn't for him, there's no way we could have gotten the Glastonbury Temple. He donated his house, he had stocks, he had some money in the bank, and everything was used to pay for the new temple. We had to pay a little bit more, but pretty much everything he gave pretty much just about almost paid for the temple.
Yeah. And I remember a couple of years ago, there was the article in Back to Godhead magazine about a devotee who was helping set up temple in India. And Yadunandan Prabhu saw that page, and I think he mentioned something to the effect to Jiva Mataji, who was in the kitchen that time, that I want to be like this. I want to help build the temple. Jiva Mataji, you can correct me. I vaguely remember this conversation.
She's in the kitchen washing the Didi paraphernalia.
That's okay. And he was very giving while he was alive too. He would donate generously. He would sponsor the outfits. He would sponsor, donate towards Rath Yatra, major festivals. So he was an inspiration while he was alive, and he made his passing away inspirational too for us.
And few days before his passing, he sponsored the outfit for Narsinga Dev, because he passed away just after Narasimha Chaturdashi, right? Yeah. So he came for Narasimha Chaturdashi. I remember him standing next to me. And when they said who can sponsor the outfit, he sponsored the outfit. And I was actually thinking he had a cane in his hand. His hip was not very good. And I'm thinking he's still donating. Shouldn't he be saving up for his old age is what I was thinking. But little did I know that he was actually taking care of himself by donating.
Amrita Kelly, I think the person that you were referring to in the Back to Godhead magazine was Mr. Sethi, the one he was responsible for the Juhu temple. And he said, my temple is being built in heaven. Like when he was a builder, and he himself did not have a house. And whenever he said, when are you building your house? And he would say, it's being built in, like in the spiritual world, my house, like that he would reply. And Yadunandan Prabhu said, I want to be like him. So I think it was Mr. Sethi, who was one of the important architects of the Juhu temple.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
And Mataji, I just have one thing to share. Twice in a row, he cooked for Extravaganza festival all by himself, and it distributed prasadam to all the devotees who came there to distribute books and have a festival there.
Wow.
Yeah, he made awesome brownies.
He made awesome everything. He was a good cook.
He was a gourmet cook, actually.
Yeah, he was.
No, for the extravaganza, the whatever the thing, I think it was marijuana festival. That's what it was in Massachusetts, where all the students would come and everything. And twice, 2 years in a row, he made brownies for that. He made it for the devotees, and he also distributed it among the people who came. So
I would like to share like a short incidents when I heard about his passing, and since I used to work very close to where he lived in Northampton, so I decided to drive after my work, and so it seemed like the neighbors actually called the police because he was not answering, and the police had to break the door and and found him there on the chair. So I went to the police station in Northampton and spoke with the officer about Yadunandan Prabhu, and I spoke to him. And the police said that, yeah, we found him. He was sitting in the chair. He was already left. And there were some kind of beads in his hands. And I knew in my heart that he left from this world while remembering and chanting Krishna's name. So I thought of sharing that.
He also bought a first class round trip ticket for Naranjana Swami to go to India and back. They're not cheap either.
Yeah, very, very thoughtful and very generous. I remember he wanted to go to India, but he couldn't travel. And I feel that just by, sponsoring and allowing devotees to travel, he was, covering his journey towards back to Godhead.
Pyari Prabhu, didn't he also pay for Michael Prabhu's ticket?
Yes, he overheard Michael saying that, oh, I'd like to go to India someday. I'd like to go sometime. And so he told my husband that he would like to buy a ticket from Michael, and he didn't even want Michael to know who was buying him the ticket. He is so humble.
Yeah.
And then he actually paid for a trip for me to go as well. And he said I could bring a friend with too. And my husband volunteered himself. He was so generous, so.
Yeah. He was also one of the first people to give to the TOVP a large amount. Yeah. And he encouraged me to give also. So he actually inspired me to give. And he and I looked at each other and we said, oh, we're building our bank balance. That's what he said when he was giving.
Yeah. I remember Anand Gauranga Prabhu commented that he was, sometimes when I keep putting off service or donations to, when I'm in a better situation, when I have lesser responsibilities, lesser obligations. And he said Yadunandan Prabhu was able to give in death because he was practicing giving when he was alive. So Amrit Keli, don't plan on doing service or donating a large sum at the time of your death if you don't practice while you're alive. So I think that was also very inspirational that, he was generous, during his lifetime as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so when we chant today, we can keep all these devotees in our thoughts. We keep the souls of people who have left the world. We keep their family members when we chant today. I have just one last set of announcement and then we'll have the chanting today. Our bookstore is online now. So loud Hari Bol for that. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
I believe the first transaction has already taken place, but I would say it is a glorious day. So Prabhupada says that spiritual master is like father and Vedic knowledge is like the mother, right? So today is Mother's Day. So I would encourage you to go on, is it Facebook, Ganpati Govind? Is the online bookstore on Facebook?
Yes, Mataji, it's on Facebook.
Yeah, so I would encourage you to go on Facebook and buy a book today from our online store.
Ganpati Govind, is it being sent with every announcement that you send?
We just launched it today, Mataji. So yes, I'll have to talk to Anand Gauranga Prabhu to do that.
Okay, we have it up on the screen. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Our bookstore
if it
is
comes with
online.
every announcement, it's like a reminder to go browse it,
Yeah, definitely, Mataji. We have to add all the books to the catalog. We have added, I have added few, at least the main ones now. But as we progress, as we move forward, I'll have to add all the other books in the catalog online.
Very good. Big achievement. Thank you.
Achievement, yeah.
Kamala Mataji has pushed us many times to do it. That was definitely an inspiration.
Because Laguna Beach had it, so we had to be competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody should go to Facebook now. For once, I'm saying go to Facebook and make use of the effort that devotees have put in going online. Let's have chanting now. Chanting for our fee sponsors and other devotees as well.
Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Nayan Patel Prabhu ki jai. Is somebody going to join me in jai?
Jai.
Jai. Rupali Jyoti and Mahesh Shah ki jai. Soham Krishna and family ki
Jai.
Pankajangri Prabhu ki
Jai.
Shreyans Nayan Shah ki
Jai.
Shri Hari Vilas Saxena ki
Jai.
Thank you again, everybody, for joining us for the program. With this, we come to the conclusion of the Sunday program this evening. Pyare Prabhu, thank you very much for the close-up darshan. The sunshine green dress looks really good.
Jai.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Go.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We'll be leaving now.
Someone was asking for a picture of Yudhanandan Prabhu. We weren't a big picture group, were we?